What is up, Insaners, and welcome to another video of the Fantasy Premier League 2022-23 season. In this one, guys, we're going to talk about some key dilemmas before the Game Week 27 deadline. We'll talk about some key transfer tips, so if you like the video today, make sure to hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the Insanely Football YouTube channel for more such FPL content. And with that, let's start today's video. So we'll start with the first dilemma. Is it worth playing the wildcard this week? Now, Game Week 27 is double game week with Brentford and Brighton having good fixtures this week. Now, straight off, if you do not have any players from both teams, you have to see how many you can get with maximum a couple of hits. Now, if the rest of your team is absolutely fine, you can avoid playing the wildcard right now and you can save it for gaming 28 or 29 or even a later stage to attack the end of the 2022-23 FPL season. Now, let's say if you have a couple of players from Liverpool, let's say if you have Mo Salah, Trent, Nunes, maybe two of them. Now, in that scenario, you can hold them off this week against Bournemouth. You can even keep your Arsenal and Man United players who have a favourable fixture in gaming 27. So, in case if you have players like, let's say, Patterson, Tarkowski, Bueno, maybe you have Mahrez or KDB, or let's say if you have Nketiah in your team, or maybe even Mitrovic, I think if you have a combination of these sort of players, in that sort of scenario, I think it's better to wildcard. I think it's better to not take those many hits and change all those players. A wildcard will just easily help you get rid of all those options, set up for your double in 27, prepare at least 10 to 11 players for the blank in gaming 28, and then have a strong bench in gaming 29 where you can use your bench boost chip in gaming 29. So that should be the ideal strategy in case if you have that combination of players. So guys, ultimately there's no correct answer here. You'll have to see your team and then take a call. I feel if your team really needs it, absolutely go for it. But yeah, see the combinations that you can play by making regular transfers first and then take the wildcard decision. You can use your regular transfers, you can field a strong 11, and you can reassess next week or even later once we get confirmed information on the blanks in Game Week 32 and the probable doubles in Game Week 34 and 37. Now let's move on to the next dilemma. Who are the best double Game Week players in Game Week 27? So 4 teams are doubling in Game Week 27, but only Brentford and Brighton, they're relevant from an FPL point of view. Now if you're looking at Brentford, I think you should definitely get Tony. He's a great option. He can absolutely be one of your forwards, and he's also a good captaincy option this week. He has good potential, he has good attacking stats, he's also quite involved whenever Brentford score goals. I think he's a safe option to go for. In case if you're looking to double up on the Brentford team, you can easily go for Raya as your goalkeeper option. He makes a lot of saves. In fact, he's ranked top among all goalkeepers this season in terms of making saves, and I think he will be a steady option. Even if Brentford do not keep a lot of clean sheets in the coming games, he can always give you save points and maybe an odd clean sheet, and then bonus points also come with it. So I think if you're doubling up, Tony is a good double up with Raya. And then in case if you want to double up on the Brentford defense, which isn't ideal, it may be okay for this week, but then in gaming 29 they have a tricky double where they may not keep a couple of clean sheets or even a single clean sheet. So you have to be prepared for that. Maybe you already have a plan to take one of those Brentford options. You're just getting the Brentford double up in defense for the double in 27, and then you move them on in gaming 28 or 29. That's also a viable strategy. In that scenario, you can go for somebody like a Henry. He's not as expensive as me, and he's also give you some decent attacking threat. He is a nailed option in that Brentford defense. I think he's a good pick. He's a solid budget enabler this week. Coming to Brighton options, and the standout option in the Brighton defense is Estupinian. Now, he's a nailed option in the Brighton team. He's already got a few assists. He creates a lot of chances. He's also created 4 big chances this season. I think that's really good for bonus points as well. I think if you're looking at the defense, you should definitely go for Estupinian. Now, if you already have Sanchez, I do not recommend the switch to Steele, who may be the number 1 goalkeeper for Brighton in the near future. Again, we do not know whether that's going to continue for a long term or it's a short term strategy by De Zerbi. So I think just typically avoid both keepers, and if you have, let's say, something like a Sanchez, you move on to a Raya and get that keeper situation sorted. Now coming to the other options in the Brighton midfield, I think all three, and I think there's a lot of conversation already in the community in terms of which one's better between McAllister, March and Mitoma. I think all three have their merits and demerits. If you want to go safer, if you believe statistics are the way to go for and to select a certain player, I think March is the option for you. Mitoma is great on the itis, so if you really feel that football is played on the grass, and I think you have an inkling that Mitoma is probably going to outscore his numbers because he's a clinical finisher, then I think definitely go for Mitoma. McAllister is kind of a mix between the two. He's also on penalties, and his attacking situation is kind of position dependent. So if he plays in that number 10 role, in a slightly more attacking role, I think it's really good for attacking returns. But if he's playing in a DM role, in a more withdrawn sort of a position, then I'm not really sure about him. So if you want to go aggressive or you want to attack, go against your mini-league rivals, try to catch up on rank, etc., I think in that scenario you go McAllister. Otherwise, a combination of Mitoma plus March is really solid. Now let's move on to the next dilemma. Should we sell Liverpool players right now? Now I don't think so. Liverpool players are worth selling at the moment this week. They have a good fixture against Bournemouth. Bournemouth aren't really a great defense. In fact, they have the worst numbers in terms of expected goals conceded since the FPL restart. And we all know what happened in the last game when Liverpool played against Bournemouth. They scored 9 goals. Of course, Salah was not even involved in one goal, which was a big surprise. But I'm not expecting that to happen again. That was sort of a freak situation, a freak result. But if Liverpool go big, I think Salah is definitely going to be involved. He's also in penalties. In fact, he's shown some great form in the recent games as well, where he scored a few goals, gotten a few assists, and I think his confidence is back and he just looks like a good player at the moment. So I think you definitely hold Salah. Now, in case if you want to go towards an Estupinian, maybe I think you can sell somebody like a Trent or a Robertson. In case if you have Alisson, I think the switch is easy in terms of going for a Raya, for example. I possibly won't switch a Trent to a Brentford defender this week. I still feel Trent has decent potential in spite of having just a one fixture. You can make the switch next week, but then you don't have to go for a Brentford player. You can maybe directly jump to a Chilwell, for example, from Chelsea. That's also an option. So that's where I am. In terms of Gakpo and Nunes, I think you can sell them for a Brighton mid or maybe a Tony if you don't have these options. In case if you already have a Tony in place, in case if you already have your desired Brighton midfielder in place, then I think you can easily hold a Nunes or even a Gakpo. Now let's move on to the next dilemma. Bench boost in gaming 27 versus 29, which one's better? Now bench boost is a chip that allows you to get all the points scored from your bench players for just 1 week. So basically whatever points your bench scores, they are added to your total points tally for that particular game week, and you can only use this chip once across the season. So that's the bench boost chip. Now there are two viable strategies in terms of bench boost that have emerged very recently. A lot of managers, I think Wildcard in gaming 27, now they have a strong bench. Now what to do with that bench, because that bench has players from Arsenal and Newcastle this week. Now both teams have a suitable fixture this week, and there's a high chance that you can get a lot of points on the bench this week. So in case if you want to maximize or utilize that, you can absolutely go for a bench boost in 27. Now not only Arsenal and Newcastle, there is Liverpool, Man United, and even Man City who has decent fixtures, decent single game week fixtures this week, and that can allow you to score big this particular game week. Now if you want to use your bench boost, you can absolutely do that. Another advantage of using the bench boost in gaming 27 is that you can focus mainly on your playing 11 from this week onwards. I mean, you can play your bench boost in 27, and then from game week 28 onwards, you can start divesting and start taking out money from your bench because you don't need that much money on your bench. And then you can start getting a stronger playing 11. So that's one advantage. A bench boost this week versus gaming 29 definitely gives you fewer double game week players. So in case if you want to maximize your bench boost by having more players or more options, having extra fixtures, then maybe this is not the right week. Then in that scenario, you bench boost in gaming 29. It definitely gives you a better opportunity to maximize your effectiveness of the chip, because of course you will be having 12 to 13 maybe double game week players who have a double game week fixture. I think that's probably the better situation, at least on paper, in terms of bench boost. Yes, you're getting that additional fixture, but it also kind of depends on which players do you have. So let's say if you have players from Brentford, Newcastle, maybe even Liverpool, who all have tricky doubles in gaming 29, I think that could be a bit tough in terms of gaining the maximum out of the chip. But yeah, in case if you have some other option, in case maybe you have Arsenal options, even Man City who is facing Liverpool and they can definitely score big, I think in that scenario definitely use the bench boost in gaming 29. Now let's move on to the last dilemma for this week: what to do with Erling Haaland. Now a lot of managers are thinking of selling Erling Haaland. I think the question mark still remains in terms of, is it worth taking the risk? Now Haaland only plays twice in the next 3 game weeks, and gaming 28 basically is a blank. Then gaming 29 is also not a double, so it's not a huge advantage that you're getting out of Erling Haaland. I think if you're on regular transfers, and I see this as two situations or two strategies or two directions to look at. Now in case if you have free transfers, in case if you've already played your wildcard, in that sort of scenario, I don't think so it's worth taking out Erling Haaland. I mean, you'll definitely take out Erling Haaland for Tony, for example, maybe a Kane, maybe a Watkins, and I don't necessarily see any of these players massively outscoring Erling Haaland because of the capability that Erling Haaland has. I mean, he can score a hat-trick against Crystal Palace, he can even score a brace or even a hat-trick against Liverpool, so he has that potential, and I'm not necessarily seeing that potential with the other forwards right now. So you'll anyway spend one transfer to take out Erling Haaland, and then let's say when you reach gaming 28 to 29, you may have other fires to put out and you may not want to make that move, but because of the fact that already everybody's having Erling Haaland, and gaming 30 he's against Southampton, most of the managers are going to captain Erling Haaland that week, so his effective ownership, his total ownership is also going to be very high. and you would not really want to bet against that. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, but I think if you have free regular transfers or free transfers, you should probably try to prioritize elsewhere and just let Haaland be, just keep him in the team and move on to other options. In case if you are on a wild card, for example, let's say if you're wildcarding this week, maybe you're wildcarding in 28 or even 29. In that sort of a scenario, maybe you can take out Erling Haaland at the moment. You can maybe go for a Watkins, maybe go for a Kane. I mean, there are differential options in Johnson as well. You can go for Iheanacho. So there are multiple directions you can look at. But basically what I'm trying to say here is that you can take out Erling Haaland, maybe go for Salah for this week, and then take out Salah and downgrade Salah to a different option next week. And then the idea or the strategy here is to basically get Erling Haaland back in Game Week 30 for the fixture in Southampton, because you would definitely not want to take any chances. But yeah, just make sure that even on a wildcard, you do not spread your funds a lot, because otherwise getting him back might be a bit challenging. Overall, I don't think so it's worth taking out Haaland and, taking all that effort and making a mess of your team. I mean, you can easily look at other options. You can still gain a lot from keeping Erling Haaland in the team. But yeah, in case if you want to go aggressive, in case if you are okay taking that risk, and if you want to go against your rivals in your mini leagues and catch up on rank, or at least attempt to catch up on rank, in that scenario, yes, you can take out Erling Haaland for a differential option. So that'll be all from my side for this video, guys. I hope this was helpful and useful. I hope I was able to answer all your queries before the Game Week 27 deadline. Now, if you liked the video today, make sure to hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the Insanely Football YouTube channel for more such FPL content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.